This episode is for anyone who is currently pregnant, who just had a baby, or is thinking about starting a family. Don't overcomplicate it. We need to start small. I would not compare myself to others. Sometimes you might need to just turn it off. Like, do whatever you have to do that makes you feel good, that gets you out of that comparison cycle, and stick with that. Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Scale podcast. I'm your host, Mary Katherine, and today we are talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is postpartum fitness journeys. And we're going to talk about the postpartum journey in general when it comes to your physical journey and the mental load as a mom. And let me just start with, I see influencers and fitness professionals all over the gram, all over TikTok, offering up what worked for them. And now they have come out with this 12-week program where you too can shed the baby weight and get back to your pre-pregnancy weight. You can bounce back when we all know there's really no going back. It's only going forward. But spoiler alert, usually this program is custom to what worked for them. It's not necessarily tailored to what your body needs and what you need in this season of your life. And this is just the sad and frustrating part of all of the fitness programs out there, because there are so many different workout programs and nutrition plans. And I think one of the myths that kills me the most, that I see a lot, is people saying that if you're not sticking to a program, you're not sticking to this concrete quote unquote plan, this workout plan, then you're never going to see results. And while I understand the benefits and the importance of sticking to a program, I do believe that is a hard pill to swallow when you are a new mom, or maybe you're a seasoned mom and you're just trying to balance it all. You're trying to find time to work out, to take care of yourself. You want to lose weight, you want to gain muscle, you want to look better and you feel better, but also you don't have time to stick to this concrete plan. And when someone's telling you you're never going to see results unless you stick to this plan, that's hard. That's a really hard pill to swallow. So here's what I'll say about that before I go any further. When you're in a season of life where you just had a baby, or you have small children, you have toddlers at home running around, and that's pretty much your whole day, movement is movement right now, okay? During some phases of life, movement is movement. If getting a workout in is super tough for you right now, I would advise you just do these three things. Number one, find something that you enjoy. Find an exercise program that you enjoy. Number two, stay consistent with it a few days a week. Maybe that's going to Fit Body Boot Camp. Maybe that's just going for a walk with the stroller. Maybe that's a home workout in your basement. Carve out the time a few days a week. Stay consistent with that. It doesn't also have to be the same thing. You could walk some days. You could run some days. You could go to boot camp the other. It doesn't have to be the same thing. When you are in a crazy season of life, when you're in this postpartum roller coaster, what it feels like to me, I don't want you to overcomplicate it. That's my number three. Don't overcomplicate it. Try to simplify. Simplify to amplify right now, because you need to be in the right mental space, the right physical shape in order to take care of these little ones, to take care of your family, but also to take care of yourself. So don't overcomplicate it. Now might not be the time to take on the 8-week strength training program that has 5 days a week program that takes 45 minutes to an hour to complete. Right now is probably not the time. And this is something great to work towards. Yes, we need to start small. Start small. Okay, enough about that. This episode is for anyone who is currently pregnant, who just had a baby, or is thinking about starting a family. I have 2 little ones. They are 3 and 5. And I can't even believe I'm saying 5, a whole hand, as we say it in our house. Because 5 just seems so old to me. But when I look at my daughter, I do still see this little child that needs me so much. During both pregnancies, I was a gym owner. I was super into fitness, nutrition, all of the things. I worked out until I gave birth. I actually coached until I was 37, 38 weeks pregnant with both kiddos. And I feel so incredibly lucky that I was able to do that. While I know that that's not the situation for everyone. Some people aren't able to work out their entire pregnancy. But if you are listening to this and you are pregnant and you are worried about, should you be going to the gym? What should you be doing? First, consult your doctor. But number two, movement is great when you are pregnant. Unfortunately, my delivery with my first child left me unable to run or jump until I had a round of pelvic floor therapy. I did a 12-week PT round that was not fun, but so necessary during that season. It did help the situation. It didn't fully fix the problem. And I would say that some of the things I did a few weeks after having my first child actually hindered my ability to get back into my workout routine like I wanted, which really led me into my topic for today. As I was thinking about what could I talk about that would add value to your life as a listener, if you are someone in a postpartum journey or you're pregnant or you're thinking about starting a family. And I thought about what are some things that I did that I actually would have done differently. So I have put together 5 things that I would do differently if I had another postpartum journey. So here we go. And if you're listening to this, I want to make sure you remember that these are things that, again, they worked for me or they did not work for me. And these are suggestions based on my results and what I see in the gym as a multi-location owner. I am not a doctor, and it is always best that you seek outside counsel and therapy and listen to your body, because you're the only one that can decide what is best for you. All right, so here is my number 1 thing that I would do differently if I had another postpartum journey. Number 1, I would try not to restrict my calories at all until I had established breastfeeding for at least 2 months, 8 whole weeks. I am not going to go into my entire breastfeeding journey, which could be a whole episode in its own, but I struggled with breastfeeding. And here's one of the reasons why I think I did. With both kiddos, I was so excited to get back into my fitness routine. I wanted to start dieting again. I wanted to start counting the macros, tracking everything that I ate. I wanted to get back down to my pre-pregnancy weight, and I was very focused on that. And unfortunately, that hindered my ability to supply the milk that I needed. It's best not to do anything to lose weight until the 2nd month. So until you're 8 to 12 weeks, really, postpartum, you should not try to be in a calorie deficit. You really should not try to be dieting. This gives your body enough time to establish a healthy milk supply, and it's less likely to be adversely affected if your caloric intake is restricted, which that's what I did. I tried to restrict my calories, which affected my milk supply, which stressed me out. It was just a vicious cycle, and I never got to the other side of it, and unfortunately had to stop breastfeeding with both kiddos because I did this. So my recommendation for you is do not try to go on a quote-unquote diet. Do not try to lose the baby weight. Do not count macros or count calories until you've established breastfeeding for at least 8 to 12 weeks. And if you're not breastfeeding and if you don't plan to breastfeed, that's okay. But 2, your body is going through this healing phase after giving birth for this first 6 to 12 weeks. So you really should not try to put any more stress on your body. So that is what I would keep in mind. Breastfeeding on average burns anywhere from 200 to 500 calories per day. So if you're in a caloric deficit, your body is trying to heal, repair, you have inflammation, you're also breastfeeding, your body's trying to produce milk 24/7 for this new baby. It's going to be really hard for you to lose weight, but also if you're really trying to lose weight, it's going to be hard for you to keep up your milk supply. So that is the first thing that I would never do again, is restrict my calories until 2 to 3 months in. All right, number 2, I wouldn't try to plan out my exercise schedule. I would try to be more flexible. Here's why. I would get stressed out if I couldn't stick to my schedule. So here's the situation, okay? I have a newborn at home and I'm planning to go to the 6:15 a.m. boot camp session. My baby's up all night long. Well, the next morning, I either can do two things. I can either go, feel like crap because I'm so sleep deprived. I didn't get enough sleep. Or I could not go and then I don't have another time to work out that day. I could be down in the dumps because I missed my workout and I'm trying to stick to this rigid schedule and it's just not going according to my plan. And then I get stressed out, I feel burnout, I feel overwhelmed, and I feel like everything I've tried to plan is just not working out for me. I would go back and try not to do that to myself again. I would try not to get stressed out if I cannot stick to this rigid workout schedule. I set unrealistic goals and expectations for myself way too early on, which I never recommend to someone who has just had a baby, who has toddlers at home, and they're just trying to manage it all. You have to offer up that flexibility in your life. You have to be flexible, and you have to remember that, small changes over time is going to equal results in the long run. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We have to create some healthy foundational habits that we can adopt and do every day and every week, but we don't have to stick to this rigid schedule. And the sooner you can get yourself out of that mindset, the easier it's going to be to remain flexible and adapt to unforeseen circumstances. What I would also do is I would find a fitness community early on. I did this with Fit Body Bootcamp. As a Fit Body Bootcamp owner, I had that community from day one in my postpartum journey. But if you're listening to this and you're struggling to feel motivated, you're struggling to leave the house or do anything on your own, finding a fitness community that can be that sounding board, that support system, those motivators, that can really help you show up for yourself. Also, when you're going through a transformation as a new mom, you also have the whole component of who's going to watch my baby. Well, try to figure out how you can carve out some alone time that you can go to the gym by yourself, or maybe your spouse can watch the baby while you do a home workout or go for a jog or just go for a walk by yourself. Having that alone time, that me time, is essential not only to your physical health but to your mental health. And also, you can include your kid in workouts. I think there's a ton of benefits to that because you're modeling the behavior that you hope that they have one day when they get older. But also, you're showing that you can do this together and you can make fitness fun. And it doesn't have to be always alone and isolated. It doesn't have to be your own individual journey. You can do it as a family. All right, so that's my number 2. I wouldn't try to stick to a rigid workout schedule. I would allow myself more flexibility and give myself some grace. Okay, number 3, I would get my stress under control earlier on. Women wear busy and stress as a badge of honor, but it's not supposed to be that way. We are not supposed to live that way. I do feel as a mom to 2 and an entrepreneur that sometimes I'm addicted to the stress, addicted to the chaos. And we shouldn't be that way, because the more stress we let into our lives, the more times we say yes, the more doors we leave open, the more overloaded we are, and we don't get to spend things on what really matters and what we value the most. So if I could go back and have another postpartum journey, I would have gotten my stress around motherhood under control much earlier on. I would have found someone to talk to, not only my friends and my fitness community, but likely I would have found a therapist that I could have gone to talk about some of the mental roller coasters I was on, some of the things I was dealing with internally that really nobody else understood at the time. I would have talked to my spouse more, communicated what I was going through and what I needed. Because a lot of times as moms, we have this almost like silent battle that we're fighting inside, and no one really knows how bad it is because we choose to keep it inside. We choose to not communicate what we need and what we want enough. We keep it inside. Motherhood is hard, and no one can really prepare you for what you're going to go through. Like, you really don't know until you're in it. So don't suffer in silence. Seek help early on. Don't suffer in silence. All right, number 4, I really love this one. Buy clothes that fit you right now. Do not try to fit your new body in all of these old clothes and just tell yourself, I'm going to work super hard to get into these jeans again, to fit into those yoga pants, to wear the crop top. It's exhausting, you guys. And like, you look at yourself in the mirror every single day. You see yourself on camera. Why are you trying to fit your new mom bod into your pre-pregnancy jeans 3 months postpartum? Don't do that to yourself. Sure, you see celebrities and influencers out there who they bounce back somehow and they look great and they have their 6-pack again. They don't have the flab around their belly button like we do, and they don't have the jiggle in their thighs, and they're able to put the pre-pregnancy clothes back on and show up like, the super hot mom. That is not reality, okay? That is not reality. You need to march yourself over to Target, over to Zara, wherever you like to shop, whatever makes you feel good. Buy yourself the 2 or 3 sizes up. Buy a pair of jeans for right now. You can still have those gold jeans hanging up in the closet, okay? Put them in a freaking case if you need to. But wear something that makes you feel good right now, because your mental health is important right now. Not just when you lose the 20 pounds or when you have the 6-pack again or when you lose the 10% body fat. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel good, to look good, to show up as your best self right now, despite how much weight you've gained, despite how sleep deprived you are, despite anything that you're going through. You deserve to feel good in your skin right now. So go shopping. Go on a shopping spree. Doesn't have to be crazy. Find some items that make you feel good, that are going to help you show up in this transitional phase of life. All right, and number 5, I would not compare myself to others. And this is a vicious cycle that we're all doing, whether we're in a postpartum journey or not. We're always comparing ourselves to other people. And the more we do that, the more we lose sight with who we are and what's unique to us. And it's hard. It's hard when we are surrounded by, the sex appeal of media and the beauty industry. Everybody is so beautiful and flawless and chiseled. And the more we compare our lives and our bodies to other people, the less joy that you are going to experience. Sometimes I have to remind myself, I'm in my 30s. Sometimes I have to remind myself, when my mother was a young mom, like I am, she didn't have Instagram to scroll and find the new, mom hacks and health hacks and tips for your kid to sleep at night and activities for after school, just all the things that we're just overstimulated with. She didn't have any of that like we do at our fingertips, ready to go. She had friends. She had a community. She wasn't comparing herself to all these other people because they weren't in front of her like they are in front of us. So sometimes it might be necessary to turn it all off, to shut it down. If you're struggling right now with comparing yourself to others, if you are looking at your life and you're saying gosh, why can't I get it together? Why can't I lose the weight? Why can't my house be clean? Why can't I land that dream job? Why is my car so messy? Why is hers so clean? Why does that mom look the way she does at school pickup? Oh my God. If this is you, which I can speak so passionately about this because this is me, you guys, this is everybody. If this is you, sometimes you might need to just turn it off. Shut off the phone, shut off the Instagram, get off TikTok, stop scrolling, read a book, look in the mirror, smile, give yourself a freaking high five, appreciate your family, express gratitude, journal, do whatever you have to do that makes you feel good, that gets you out of that comparison cycle, and stop worrying about everyone else's life because they're not worrying about yours, and just focus on what you have right now, what you're working with, what you're working towards, and stick with that, okay? So, even looking back, this is so funny, comparing myself to other people, also comparing myself to what I used to look like. People do this too. I have seen some pictures back 6 months postpartum with my daughter, which was 5.5 years ago. And I remember, I can close my eyes and remember that feeling of not liking that person, not liking what I looked like, not feeling good in my skin. And I look at that picture today and I'm literally like, what? I would love to tell that girl how great she looked. And I bet you that you have friends and you have family members that are doing the same thing about you. Give yourself some grace. And when I mean grace, I actually mean gratitude. You had a baby. You're about to have a baby. You have little ones crawling around. You are amazing. Don't scroll Instagram and TikTok and compare yourself all day to other people. It is going to get you nowhere. It's just going to cause pain. So those are the 5 things that I would do differently. Number 1, as a recap, I would not restrict my calories until 2 to 3 months after I had the baby, especially if I'm in a postpartum breastfeeding journey. All right, number 2, I would not try to plan out my exercise schedule. I wouldn't be rigid. I would give myself some flexibility with my movement. Number 3, I would get my stress under control. Number 4, buy clothes that fit your body now. Do not try on old clothes and just plan to work hard to fit in them. And number 5, I would try not to compare myself and my life to the lives of other people. So I hope that helps you guys. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the podcast. As always, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and share this episode with all of your friends. Until next time, thanks so much.